Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for those of you who have joined us this afternoon for the Bellway Graduate Jobs at Bellway webinar. So thank you for taking time out of your own afternoon to hear more about everything that we have to offer at Bellway. Today's webinar, we're going to break it into a couple of different stages, a bit about what we do at Bellway, who we are. We're also going to hear from some of our current graduates, hear about their experiences, hear about their journey within the business, learn about everything that they've got from a hints and tips perspective. And then also we're going to talk a little bit about the recruitment process so that today, hopefully, it'll bring everything to life for you. We're also going to have a big Q&A. So what I will say is throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, there should be a chat function just on the right-hand side that you should all be able to see. So with anything that comes up as we go through it, feel free to just put your questions into that wee section as well. And then when we get to the Q&A, myself and my colleague Sarah, who is on, we will manage those questions as they come through. All right. Before we just get into the meat of it, I just want to say that my name is Ewan Mackenzie, and as I said, I'm joined with my colleague Sarah as well. So we look after all of the kind of recruitment process as it goes through into your graduate programmes. And in a moment, you're going to meet my colleague Ellie Hall as well, who will be able to introduce herself. So I'll not introduce you for yourself, Ellie. I'll let you do that. So I'll pass over to yourself just now.
Great, thank you, Ewan, and thank you everybody for joining us today to hear a bit more about graduate roles with Bellway. Really lovely to meet you all virtually. So as Ewan said, I work with the team from a recruitment perspective. I'm the Group Resourcing and Talent Manager here at Bellway Homes. Been with the company since September 2022, and one of the main projects that I lead on is our graduate recruitment each year. So really pleased to be speaking to you all today, and even more so to be offering a number of graduate opportunities across the group, across the country again this year. It's something that we're really invested in. So I want to tell you a little bit just about Bellway, about who we are, and you know, hopefully you'll take some of that away then when you hopefully come on to apply for a role with us as well. So Bellway, you may not have heard of us. We are a long established company. So we were actually founded back in 1946 here in Newcastle upon Tyne, which is where I'm based. That's our head office. But we do actually have 22 operating divisions across England, Scotland and Wales. So that's split into 4 regions, north, central, south and west. So wherever you are based in the country and dialing in today, you probably won't be too far from either a Bellway divisional office or certainly from a Bellway development of new build houses. So I'm sure you might have seen our flags somewhere near where you are. In terms of the volume of what we do across those divisions, we are growing. So last year we finished the financial year having built 7,654 homes, and this year we are looking to complete 8,500 by the end of the financial year of 2025, which will be the end of July. So that is really promising. Things are going in the right direction for us. And another accolade there on our slide, it's just that we are a 5-star builder, and that is something that we've now we've obtained that for the past 8 years. It's all to do with our customer experience and the customers being at the heart of what we do. So that's something that we're really, really proud of, and something that you hear us talking a lot about. Under Bellway, we actually have different operating brands, which may be less commonly known. Like I say, you've probably seen the Bellway Homes flags, but under that we also operate different brands. Bellway being very much the foundation of our company. We don't just build houses, we have a really broad portfolio. We build from 1-bedroom apartments up to 6-bedroom family homes. So it is really, really broad in terms of the product that we actually build. So under that, we also have Ashbury Homes, which was created as a sister brand to Bellway. So essentially, you might see some sites, for example, where you see Bellway and you see Ashbury, but they are both our own brands. We also have a separate brand in London, delivering sustainable homes across the capital. As you can imagine, that involves generally a lot more apartments, being London-based. The Artisan collection runs throughout Bellway, so it's essentially the house type and the house design that we own, which again is all based on high quality from both the exterior finish and the interior as well. That's something that we pride ourselves on. and also included Bellway Your Nest there, which is that's a customer facing brand. It's an online magazine, so our customers can go there whether they've bought a Bellway house or not, but they can use that to get inspiration of what they might do with their new build home. Obviously, it's a really exciting time for customers when they buy a house with us. So that's just to give you an idea of the different things that you might not have heard of under Bellway Homes. And then the next thing I want to talk to you about is a little bit just about why Bellway. Obviously, I can sit here and say that it's a great place to work, but I think today's an opportunity just to shout about some of the things that we do outside of building houses. Obviously, that's the core of what we do, but we also do some really exciting stuff from a charitable point of view, for example. But also, I guess, more interestingly for you guys today is from our commitment to early careers. So when we talk about early careers, that's both our graduates and our apprentices, of which we continue to invest in. Most recently, we've achieved for the 4th year in a row gold membership of something called the 5% Club, where we have 10% of our workforce in earn and learn opportunities. So we're really committed to bringing in new talent and doing even more of that. So we're actually looking to get to 10%, and that would mean that we were platinum members. From a sustainability point of view, which is really exciting, we have something called the Better with Bellway initiative, which is our sustainability strategy, but that's broken down to areas of commitment around our customers, our employees, the environment, and the communities in which we operate. So, for example, delivering low carbon homes. We have things from an employee perspective, like a green car scheme to support that. We've worked in partnership most recently with the University of Salford on a project around the energy house, which is really exciting. We've got also an arrangement with Octopus Energy to deliver zero bills homes at scale. And we are actually we are the first national house builder to offer that. So that's something that we're really excited about. I mentioned charity, and that's something, again, that we're very passionate about at Bellway, with Cancer Research being our charity sponsor, who we do a lot of work with. And actually, in 2024, we reached the milestone of having raised £4 million for cancer research, something that we're really proud of. And again, we hit a target and then we increase it. So in 2025, we're going to raise £5 million for cancer research. So we're continuing our work there. And something that we're really proud of at Bellway is that as an employee, we double match any charitable fundraising that you may do. So, you raise £50 for cancer research, we double match that. So that automatically becomes £150. And that might be something that you do in your spare time as well. So that's something we're really, really proud of. And then quickly from me, you'd be pleased to know before I hand over to some more of the team and get to know the most important people on the call, but a bit about our graduate programme, so why you're all here today, hopefully, to find out a little bit more about. So our programme is it's innovative, it's hands-on, it's 2 years in length, but that's I think it's important to say that there's a job at the end of those 2 years. It's just that during those 2 years you're on a set programme with a cohort of peers, of other graduates across the business, whilst you'll come in to do a specific role that you apply to. You will complete rotations during the time of your programme as well, because it's really important that you come in and see the whole house building process from start to finish. So even if you come and you work in finance and you're very office based, and actually you will have time that you get out on site and you see that build life cycle from start to finish. So that's something that's really important. Skills workshops are delivered throughout the 2-year programme as well, to make sure that we're giving you the upskilling on the softer skills that are required in the workplace today. So that includes giving and receiving feedback, leadership and management skills, and individual profiling, which is essentially a personality profiling tool that you get to complete. It highlights all your sort of development areas, strengths, and we use that in the development of the programme as well. And then the other 2 points on there, one of them is a charity project. I've talked about our affiliation with Cancer Research, for example, but we do work with multiple charities. And as a graduate with Bellway, you get to work with one of our charity partners as part of a small group on something that is deemed a real life business issue. And you work hands-on with that charity partner to find a solution. You present it back to them and you get feedback. And likewise, on a more internal lens, we do business projects. So senior directors across Bellway will come to us and say, right, this is a real life business problem or scenario that I want the graduates to go away and tackle. Again, you'll work as part of a small group, almost like a consultancy project, to then present back to the senior leaders on your ideas. And that is, like I said, sometimes as well, we've seen that that's then actually coming to fruition at Bellway. So you have a real impact to actually, influence how things are done, which is really exciting. And so I will now hand back to Ewan to tell you all about our application process and what that looks like.
Thank you very much, Ellie. That's appreciated. Thank you for bringing that all to life. That's brilliant. As you said, they're just going to talk through the application process, just so we can highlight some of the key points. And if there was ever any bits that I would recommend taking some notes on, it's some of the key bits, especially those 5 big circles along the bottom. But we'll get to that in a second. So, what to expect though from the recruitment process, the application process, if you were to apply for any of our graduate opportunities. So the initial stage is our online application. So yeah, you will be asked to obviously input your important details so that we can get in touch with you. We know who you are and everything like that. But there are also a number of questions within that as well that we would really encourage you to take some time to think about, respond to, and really detail out your reasoning, your enthusiasm, and your eagerness for the role. So I would encourage you to take some time with those ones. The second stage, once you have been successful at that first stage, if you like, is one of our one-way interviews, so video interview, sorry. So you'll be asked to just record some videos to some questions and then submit that as well. So relatively straightforward and nothing in there that's any trick questions. It's all very much about who you are, your enthusiasm, your eagerness, your genuine wants and desires for the role, for Bellway. So really think about those as well when you're responding to your questions. And then the third and the final stage is a virtual assessment centre as well. So yeah, there's nothing in there that is kind of reinventing the wheel. There are no gamification questions and things like that. There's no tricks. There's no technique, so to speak. There's nothing you can go and practice. We want to hear about you. We want to learn about you. We want to understand why you feel like you are perfect for the role you've applied for and for Bellway itself. As Ellie and I were discussing earlier on today, that we're not looking for people who have 5 years experience already working in a insert role background. That's not what we're looking for. We wouldn't think that is appropriate. For a graduate role, we want to hear from people who are really just so keen to be part of the business. It's really all about that enthusiasm, that willingness to learn, more than anything else. And then looking at these kind of 5 big circles at the bottom that I mentioned, these are the skills or the values or the behaviours that you are then assessed against as you go through the recruitment process. So if you are thinking about how to respond to questions, I would strongly encourage you to keep these 5 things in mind when you're responding. So great communication, always listening, taking ownership, effective collaboration, and demonstrating flexibility. I'll not read through each and every single word. I will pause though for 10 seconds and do some filler small talk so that people can either quickly scribble down some notes of what they are. But if there was ever a hint or a tip that I could give you with regards to how to get through that recruitment process, it would be those 5 big circles at the bottom. And I am pausing just to give everyone that last second to scribble anything down that they might be as well. Perfect. Thank you. Now, I will stop talking at you and we will hand over to our superstars for the day, if you like, the really important people that we all want to hear from. So we're going to meet 3 of our current graduates who are already on one of the graduate programmes, hear their experiences, hear a little bit about their journey so far. And then I would just say just now, if anyone has any questions that they've thought of, whether it be about Bellway, whether it be about the recruitment process or anything that comes up from our 3 guest speakers, just please, I'll remind you to stick those questions in that chat. So we've got those to ask at the Q&A afterwards. All right. Thank you. So without further ado, Marcus, I will hand over to yourself first and foremost. Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your journey. And yeah, over to you.
Sweet, sweet. Nice one for that, Ewan. So, I will write everyone. My name's Marcus. Studied at the University of Liverpool, now working in Newcastle, in the North East Division, working in the construction department. Literally, when I was a student, never even thought that I'd go into construction. It was something completely new to me. I'd look into it, went through, the interview process. Everything seemed cool, everything was sound, and so far it's been 6 months. I'm really enjoying it so far. One thing I would say to you is, depending on what you're applying to, I'm not sure what we're looking for at the current cohort, but whether it's finance, land, sales, anything like that, it kind of doesn't matter what your degree is in. I studied business management. In the virtual assessment centre, there were people there, obviously, who had done project management or planning or things to do with construction. And then I thought I was a bit swayed away thinking like, oh, I've got a business management degree or I don't know what I'm going to do with this. But it actually can, obviously your degree does take you far, but don't be disheartened if your degree isn't kind of what you're looking for, because they're open to taking anyone on. The application process for me was all good. What I would say for one of like the main tips that I can really look for is do a bit of research of what can make you stand out. So for me, for example, I was going into construction, so just little like buzzwords that you can mention. So when you work in construction, to be on site, you need to have a CSCS card, and if you want to be a site manager, you need to do your SMSCS training. So I didn't even know what they meant, didn't know a thing about them, but I just mentioned them in the interview. I was like, oh, will Bellway pay for this? When will that kind of get done? Things like that. Didn't have a clue about them. I just thought I ever mentioned them. It looks like, I've kind of took the extra step here. I've, kind of looked into what construction's about, and it kind of gives you that extra bonus and puts you ahead of other people. Um, Talking about the job that I'm doing now, so obviously me and a man are in construction, but we're a bit different at the minute. So a man's been on site since we started in September, and I've been in the office really doing my rotations. So as we mentioned, you'll do your rotations through all the other departments just to learn what actually goes into building a house, selling a house, everything, and it is really useful. So I started my rotations in November, and I finish at the end of this month. I've done technical, commercial, sales. I'm in customer care at the minute, and that's all I've done. Yeah, so but it's really useful seeing what every part of every department does, and it really opens your eyes. And at the same time, it, you're allowed to meet everyone within the team, and that it really helps with network, and it helps with if you need a favor, you've met this person in real life, it sorts you a lot. I think that's pretty much all for me off the top of my head. That's one thing I would say is Bellway are really good at. They know that you're young, they know that you're inexperienced, as mentioned before, that it's it'll be probably your first job coming out of university. You will mess up, you will make mistakes. I've done it, we've all done it, but it's more about going on and learning from them, kind of not doing it again. But one of the first things I was told in the interview with the construction director is that he's expecting me to make mistakes, he's expecting me to cost money, things like that. It's just as long as I learn from it. So I'd say as long as you can learn from your mistakes and try and stand out a bit in the interview, you'll be all sound. And that's all from me.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Marcus. That's brilliant. Really
I know
appreciate
what
it.
it
We'll pass now on to Leon as well. So I'll hand over to yourself just to give a bit about yourself and a bit about your journey.
Hello, I'm Leon. So I'm now a graduate quantity surveyor at the Bellway Thames Valley office. So our office is basically based in Reading. So I graduated from the University of Reading last year. I studied quantity surveying program, so that's why I really want to join, the graduate program at Bellway. So one thing that why I want to join Bellway, that I want to share with you all, because house building industry is a very good prospect among the whole UK, because we got a government target to build more houses in the UK. So that's means if you join this graduate program, you can see the whole picture of how the house building industry is going on, and then the job will be very stable, and you can develop a professional career. So during this 6 month period, I really learned a lot. I can say I really learned I learned everything new in each day. For example, like tendering, like how to do measurements, how to apply the knowledge in uni and into my work. So this is all very, very valuable experience. So one thing to keep in mind is that It's never wrong to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because if you get into work, sometimes if you are not sure about whether you're doing it right or wrong, you can always ask your line manager and also other colleagues. In Bellway, everyone here is willing to help. You're not just working alone. You need to learn how to collaborate with each other, respect each other at the same time, and then try to explore yourself, be confident about yourself also. So about the recruitment process, I would like to give some tips also. So first of all, most important is about the research. You not need to look further, not just on Bellway website. You need to look further what change in the house building industry. For example, like the sustainability an area that you need to focus on. You can do more research on that. Try to impress the panels about what your knowledge, what you got to present to them. So for this whole 6-month period, one other thing I would like to share is about the rotation. Every Wednesday, I'm now going to the Harter Court, which is a site in Reading. I learned from my site manager to see how everything is built. So I'm not just sitting in the office. I am in the site to see how, for example, how the precast concrete panels are paid together. So Bellway graduate program really give you a chance not just focus on your own career, but it gives you a bigger picture of how the house building industry works. In fact, in the house building industry, it's a very interesting industry that is like cycle. For example, like the land department, they buy land, and after that, the technical work on design, and then commercial work on cost and construction, and then go to sales and customer service. It's like a cycle. So in this graduate program, you will experience the whole cycle instead of just focusing on your own profession. So this is a very good chance for you to explore this industry. And apart from this, I'm doing this graduate program. You got lots of chance to visit Newcastle also, because Bellway head office is Newcastle, and trust me, you will love Newcastle. I really love this city because actually I come to UK. This is my 3rd year, I believe, because I'm from Hong Kong. I come with my wife 3 years ago. So when first time I come to Newcastle, I found that the city is really nice, really historic, and also you can meet with some senior manager, a senior management level colleagues in Bellway. You can talk with them and then to share about your building house building industry. That's really valuable experience. And also they got a workshop, 3 different workshops for you to develop your personal skill, to learn more about yourself. Like I don't know if you've heard of I3 profile before. I3 profile is something that help to explore your personality, to see what your strengths are, how can you do better in your role. So I can see that Bellway really offer so many opportunities for you to develop not just your professional career, but also how to become more professional in terms of life or in terms of all others. So I really want to stress that in Bellway, you will find that this is really a big family. Every colleague is so supportive. I'm just my 3rd year in the UK. So I have so much to learn about, like the culture of the UK, football culture especially. So, my colleagues here is willing to teach me everything. So you can find that this is a very nice place to work with. I think that's all for me. So just let me know if you have any questions in the later on sessions. I will now pass to Eamon to share about his experience.
Yeah, thanks, Leon. So what can I tell you? Right, my name's Aman. I graduated from the University of Westminster in London, and I currently work in the Essex division on the site called Sapphire Fields. So I'm a construction graduate. So my day-to-day consists of being on site and watching the build of production of houses. So what I do on site really is essentially I see things go from substructures to CMO. And don't worry if you don't understand what that means, because I had no idea either 7 months ago. 7 months ago when I started this grad scheme, honestly, if I'm being honest with you lot, I thought, what the heck? Like, at Bellways, I want everyone to understand, what Bellways do is they provide you tools to grow. If you show the willingness to grow, Bellways will help you do that. what I've learned in the past 6 months, I didn't think I was capable of. But that wasn't just down to me. That was down to Bellway's letting me do that. Literally, all I can say to you is that Bellway's like pathway progression is amazing. Like I've the grad scheme that we've been on, like Leon mentioned, and what we've done on this grad scheme with all the skills that we've learned, especially with the I3. I don't want to really repeat points, but like Leon said about the I3 profile workshop, you kind of learn about yourself in a way where you can progress, you can develop and do better, essentially. What advice I'd give you lot really about what to do when doing applications is what Ewan actually mentioned earlier. Those 5 key values. I cannot emphasize how much you lot need to do your research on those 5 key values and how they relate back to you. A key piece of advice I'll probably give you is try to use the STAR method and apply it. If you know about the STAR method, if you don't, I'd recommend researching it and apply it to those values and how they can relate back to you. Before Bellway's, I was only working in retail. I was studying at uni. I did do construction management, but I was only working in retail. But I used examples. Well, what I did is I researched the STAR method and I used examples from my retail job about things like great communication to then essentially align with Bellway's values. And I presented that back to when I was doing my application process. Again, more advice I can probably give you is just show your willingness to learn. Because you need to understand, Bellways understand that you're new to this. Like Ellie mentioned, like Ewan mentioned, they understand that you're essentially like a baby, and this is all going to be new to you. This is all here for you to learn, and they understand that you're going to be new to this. And like Marcus mentioned, you're going to make mistakes. They expect that. So don't worry too much about making mistakes because it's part of the learning process. And Bellways know that, and they just want to help you progress and learn. One reason why I actually applied to Bellways is because I saw they were part of the, like Ellie mentioned, the 5% club. So I knew that they would actually they take care of you here. Like you don't feel pressure to do things. There's like a steady progression. You don't feel pressure to do things. It's like, I've heard about, I don't want to speak bad about other companies, but I've heard about other companies how you feel pressure when you're working. I don't feel that here. It's like I get my work done in the day, and when I go home, I go home. I don't think about work after I go home. And that your balance with your work life and your home life is key when you have a job. So yeah, that's all I have to say for now. And like I said, if you have any questions, just let us know.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, man. That's really appreciated. And thank you, Marcus and Leon, as well, for going through that. Really appreciated. And yeah, certainly brought the day-to-day to life there, which is invaluable. So thank you very much for that. I'm not sure if we've got any questions in the chat as of yet, so I will encourage anyone who has any questions about recruitment process, about what you can expect on a day-to-day basis, to pick a man or Leon or Marcus's brain about more detail about anything, then please get those into the chat. I did have just one quick question, and I think actually each of you talked about this, and it was the research piece about doing some research before you join, which is brilliant. But is there or are there places that you went to get that research and do that research? Were there any, I don't know, articles that you read or specific journals that you signed up for or anything of that nature? And I'll start with Marcus first of all, and then I'll go through. Oh, we lost Marcus. Leon, I will pass to yourself because I think we have unfortunately lost Marcus there.
Okay, don't worry. So I can talk about for the journeys. So basically what I have said before, we need to focus not just on Bellway website, not just on some Bellway news. We need to have a bigger picture of the whole industry. This is what Bellway is looking at. So that's why, for example, like Future Homes, I know like Bellways, they got some collaboration with other unis about the Future Homes. You need to find out about news on that. And then some others technology like house building technology like timber frame. Perhaps you can have a look into that. And this kind of journal article can help you to build up a knowledge about the house building industry work. And this is really important for you to demonstrate that experience. So I would say during the if you pass through, if you enter the virtual assessment center, you have a chance to meet the the panels. You need to demonstrate this kind of knowledge, and also you need to present how do you apply this knowledge in your work or in the future. So this can help you a lot to stand out among all the other candidates. Try to use everything that you got. For example, like during my interview, I showed the commercial director how I use Sentinel to do the measurements, because Sentinel, as a QS, you must know how to use Sentinel to do measurements, right? So that the director will know that I got some knowledge. Also share some about some aspect in sustainability, some of my personal opinions in sustainability, how to bring this green concept into house building. So this is how you can impress the panels, impress the director that they will give you this position to join the graduate program.
Thank you. Excuse me. Sorry. Thank you. Aman, I was just going to ask yourself the same question there. Just where did you do your research and things like that as well?
Yeah, so I feel like Leon covered most of it, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, he covered quite a bit of basis. Yeah, so I did my research online, and I'll be honest, I used LinkedIn a lot when it came to research about Bellways. I was on LinkedIn quite a lot, looking about what Bellways were doing and what sort of projects they are working on. And I'm not going to say I recommend this, but I actually did message a few graduates as well to see at Bellways to see what it was like to work with Bellways.
Right.
So I messaged people, not saying they're going to reply to you, but I did get, I got a few replies back from people who worked in the division I was applying to, and all they said were positive things about Bellways. No one said nothing negative, and it just kind of inclined me more to apply for that and go through the application process and proceed with Bellways. So yeah, there's no harm in asking questions and talking to people. But like I said, don't expect it's not everybody is gonna have to reply back. So don't expect. Maybe I got lucky reply back, but like I said, no harm in talking to people.
Absolutely. Thank you again, man. Really appreciate it. So we do have a couple of questions coming through into the chat now, which is fantastic. So the first one in here from Abu is only, are there only kind of roles in construction within Bellway? So the short answer to that is no, it is not just within construction. So there's sales graduate roles, there are more technical kind of graduate roles as well. So my encouragement there, and it will come in a couple of slides, is there's going to be a wee QR code that'll take you directly to our careers website. My encouragement there would just be to have a good look through all of those opportunities that are available to you. But the short answer is no, it is not only construction. There are other roles and lots of other areas of the business that you can get involved in as well. All right. Then the next question there is just around are there roles kind of within a project management environment? Now, Aman and Leon, you can keep me kind of honest here, but I would suggest that a lot of the roles and the nature of the business is quite project related, and that a lot of what you might do on a day-to-day basis leans towards that kind of project related work. So having those skills, having that knowledge, and having that understanding of formal project management processes and structures would be an invaluable skill to bring to the business, and something that would definitely really set you up for success within Bellway. Definitely. Aman, Leon, would you say I've kind of gone off piste a little bit there, or do you think that's true?
You're completely right. I would say there is a. I can see what he said. Project management. Yeah, there is someone interested in project management. My manager on site his title is project manager. So there you go. That literally answers your question.
Yeah.
It will. You're going to start off as a construction graduate, and you will work your way up. You'll be a construction graduate, assistant site manager, project manager. But yes, there's definitely a role for someone who wants to be a project manager. But you need to understand. I mean, everyone to their own. Maybe you progress further faster, but everything takes a bit of time. So you're going to be on this graduate course for 2 years, and then from there you take your time to progress that role.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, what you do as a product manager is essentially what you do as a site manager. Similar things, and you can work your way up to becoming a project manager.
Amazing.
I would just add to that, sorry to jump in, that's a great answer from a construction perspective, Aman, but equally from a, it's not just construction roles that we do. And obviously you've talked about having an international business management master's. I think it was Marcus that mentioned actually his background was business management at uni. So yes, when we come on to sort of sharing the roles that are available, it might be that more business related. So for example, we have some sales opportunities available this year. So it might, there's a broad range, not just construction, that would be relevant for.
Thank you. And then I can see that there's another question in there as well, just around how does Bellway support graduates in gaining professional accreditation? Now, I may have to defer to the panel on that question. Yeah, Ellie, that'd be amazing. Thank you so much.
I can also jump in because that's quite a timely one actually for us at Bellway, because we've actually really recently announced that we will support in funding people through further qualifications, which is a really exciting time for Bellway. So that's across the board. We will be reimbursing people that have done it in the last 12 months. We will reimburse their professional fees, and then moving forwards, we will cover that as well. So that's a really exciting announcement that's just recently been made. So yeah. Hopefully that answers that question.
Yep, absolutely. Brilliant. Thank you. And then I can't see any more coming through on the chat just now, so I will open up to another question, and I suppose this is just a bit of a nice general question, and we'll start with Leon for this one. Just, I suppose, can you tell me a bit more about what's been your kind of overall highlight so far with your time on the graduate programme at Bellway?
So for the graduate program that I would like to highlight so far is about the rotation, rotation in different departments. So because currently I'm spending a day every week in a site, as I said before. So during the site you will see different things, because I can describe a site is like a war field. It's not really a war, but it's like more practical. You can see everything that can be happen. You need to have a mindset how to prioritize different tasks, how to work with different subcontractors. So it's quite challenging, but during this period you can learn a lot about how a site actually work. So this gives you a very big picture of how Bellways manage different sites, also about different development. So I would say, coming back to the previous question about project management, I can add some, actually for a site development, every site is like a project. Before I joined Bellway or before I come to UK, actually I worked as a concert producer for 10 years time in Hong Kong. So I managed different projects before. So I would say it doesn't matter whether you study like project management or something else, but if you're interested in house building industry, so you can always use your transferable skill. You can gain that transferable skill from your previous job, from those degree course, which may not be house building related, but you can use those skills to apply in Bellway's graduate program to help you to acquire professional qualification to develop your professional careers. Yeah, thanks, Ethan.
Thank you. No, that's perfect. Appreciate it. Aman, I was going to ask you the exact same question about the highlight. However, there's been a brilliant question just put into the chat there that I think I would actually rather ask you, because it's much better than mine, to be honest with you. So it's a question just around, can you please share an example of a challenging project that you've worked on, how you handled it, and then I'll just add on what you learned from it as well.
Sure. So a challenging project. So if you want me to talk from my perspective on site, challenging project what I've come across was essentially, well, it was at the start really, is when I first started here and I was given the assignment to, I don't want to talk in sort of terms, but essentially look after one of the houses on site. So it was challenging because it was where I was kind of left by myself to try and do things and try and run things. But what I'd say is that at Bellway is the team, well, my team and teams in general, they're really good in it. So when I was trying to build these houses and when I had issues where people were kind of not listening for what I needed to be done, my actual team helped out in, so like my project manager, my site manager, I actually went to him to help out and to ask him for help to get these people to do what needed to be done. Like, you understand, you work as a team here. It's a team effort when you're on site. For me, I know it's everywhere, but on site it's a team effort. If I want to say if there's something I'm struggling with, then it's a whole team going to struggle with it. So what they will do is that they will do what they can to help out and help the team basically progress. And my manager always says to me every single day, if there's any problems, you have any problems with anyone on site or anyone gives you grief, just come to me and we'll try and we'll work things out. Like, I always have the backup that I need on site to help progress plots essentially and get things done.
Amazing. Thank you very much. And Tracy, you have asked another brilliant question in the chat, which I think is actually perfect for the next slides, because the short answer is that they are available just now. They are live just now. Any jobs and any graduate opportunities are on the Bellway website. But I think before we show that and show all of those roles, I will just take a second to say thank you to Marcus. Although unfortunately I think they had some technical issues. Thank you to Aman and thank you to Leon for sharing your experiences, your hints, your tips, your knowledge with us. It has been absolutely invaluable, but thank you very much as well. All right. Perfect. And I will move on to this next slide, which is a little bit about hints and tips, which I think we have covered, but just to kind of consolidate everything that we've been talked about so far. Research, I think everyone has heard enough about research, but it is really one of the top tips to really making your application stand out, whether that be Bellway, the wider industry, the wider market. So really that's one of our top tips in there. Honesty, be yourself, be honest about your experiences and your skills. We're not there to trick you. We don't expect you to have a decade of experience within a certain industry. Just be yourself, be open, be honest, and that will shine through far more than trying to guess an answer and guess what we think or what you think we want more than anything else. And then just tailor your responses to Bellway and to the role. To try your best to avoid quite generic answers to any questions, because the more specific you can be to the job description, to some of those values that we looked at earlier, the more that's going to let your application really, really stand out as well. And as much as you will probably have heard this since you were in secondary school, primary school, through to university, triple check everything. You would be surprised how often it's just the odds mistake. Just that's the bit that stands out, and it's always something a wee bit silly more than anything else. So just review it, take your chance to step away, triple check when you come back, and then submit more than anything else. All right. But the apply now button is very much open, and we would very much be encouraging you to get in and get applying now. I think a top tip that I always say to people, whether it's face-to-face recruitment events or whether it's in virtual webinars, is that getting in early is always a really, really top tip as well. You can all scan this QR code, which will take you directly to the Bellway careers page, where you can then go into all of the live vacancies, and I would let you filter on either graduate roles or you can free type. If you filter on the graduate roles, you'll be able to get through and see all of those opportunities that are available at the moment. And there's a list there just on the left-hand side. So land and planning, technical, sales and sustainability. I'll not go into huge amounts of detail about each and every one of them because we could be here for another 45 minutes. And but I would encourage you to get in, have a read through each and every one of them, the one that suits you and suits your kind of career ambitions. Get in and get applying. And I would just let you know that some of the roles are going to be closing pretty imminently in terms of not the Friday coming, but the Friday after. So there is no time like the present is probably the message I would end on. All right. I'm just going to double check in case there are any outstanding questions in the chat before we do anything, just so we don't leave you all high and dry before we finish off.
There is two more questions you in that
Perfect,
chat.
Sarah, thank you. Yep,
Yeah, that's okay. So there is one question here from Tracy. So she's just asking, can candidates apply to one or more programs? So we've had that discussion. So you and or Ellie, do you want to just clarify on that question specifically?
Yeah, happy to. I mean, you can apply, technically speaking, for as many as you wish to apply for. We would, though, encourage you to go for just one to go through that process with us, so that you could focus on that role as well more than anything else. Okay, but yeah, I would say take a bit of time today, tomorrow, and look through the ones that are right for yourself. We would encourage you to apply for the one that is of most interest, but if there are others, then yes, certainly that is an option. By all means, you can apply for more than one. All right, Ellie, do you feel like I missed anything there? No, happy.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I guess just to add to Ewan's point is that applying more than once doesn't increase your chances. Once you've applied, you are in and you are being reviewed. So it's not a numbers game. It's just one really good quality application is all you need, and we will as part of the process be asking you to narrow that down to which role is of most interest, so that we can put you in the right place essentially.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you. And Sarah, what was that final question? Sorry.
Yeah, and then one more last question here. I think there's also one coming through as well. But what would be one common mistake that candidates make in their application or interview? So I know from a lot of our screening, so we do recommend doing your research. That just shows that you've taken the time to understand Bellway, to understand the program as well. So just take your time to understand the role that you're applying for, and a bit more about Bellway to show your motivation towards the program. I think that's quite very important as well, and especially the circles that you went through as well earlier. Just show those through your applications and interview as well, and then I'm sure you'll do well going forward. But yeah, if any of you guys, anyone as well, have any insights on what you would recommend, feel free to share as well.
Yeah, just to your point there, Sarah, I think I'll split it out to application and interview. So application, just do that double check. We obviously appreciate that you're not just applying to work at Bellway, we get that, but when we read another company in the application, it's a little bit disheartening. So just make sure that it's talking all about Bellway and why you want to work for us. Make sure that you've updated it from your last one. And then interview stage, I think for me the main thing is listening. So just take a minute and to really listen what the interviewer is asking you. Don't panic and think you're thinking of your example. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to answer this. Just take your time. Absorb what the interviewer is asking you. It's not a memory game, and actually we would much rather you consider your answer and don't sort of rush into something and not actually answer what we're asking you.
Yeah, I also got something to add about the common mistake. It's not actually a common mistake, but for the research, I would recommend not to rely on ChatGPT, something like that. Because I heard not in Bellway, but in some other, perhaps during my study, I heard from some other student they use ChatGPT to search for all the answers, but they may not be accurate. First of all, and second, it's not the real you. You need to present yourself, right? It's not a machine trying to present him or herself, right? So and then during the interview process, make sure that you are looking at the camera. It's not an AI software looking at the camera. I think you know what I mean. It's about your own person looking at the camera, not just looking at some of the notes, or perhaps it's near you, I don't know, or the notes that is on your screen. Try to look at the camera to get the eye contact with the interviewer. That will be really helpful.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Leon.
I did want to say. Oh, sorry. I was
No, please go.
Yeah, I wrote it down, but make sure you have good internet connection during your virtual assessment center.
Yes,
just make sure, because I had technical issues while I was doing mine, and I'm still here actually, so it worked out in the end, so you can see better understanding of things. But just please don't do what I did, and make sure that your connection is great when you're doing that assessment center. If hopefully you make it there.
Yes. Yep.
Really,
Totally
some really
agree.
good points. It just lets us see the best version of you, Iman. I think that's a really good point.
Brilliant. Yeah, and then I can see there's just one other question in there as well around, are the graduate programs fixed term or permanent? And Ellie, I think you touched on this earlier, that although the programs themselves are for a period of time, it is a permanent position at the end of the program as well. So yeah.
Correct. So should you be successful, the contract of employment that you receive is a permanent offer of contract, permanent contract of employment, sorry. And then it's just a case that at the end of 2 years, you're no longer a graduate, but you would be moving into a role in your chosen discipline. So if it's technical, you're probably going down an engineer route, for example. But yes, that's a big goal of ours, that we want to retain the talent in the business and watch you develop further from the graduate programme.
Wonderful. Well, thank you everyone who has attended. Thank you for taking time out of your afternoon to join us. Thank you to Marcus, to Leon, to Ellie as well for sharing your experiences and your knowledge with us. It's been brilliant. And to those of you, I would just again say, get applying. Scan that QR code and get through and get applying. And enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Cheerio. Thank you again.